Hey, what's up, guys? Larry Ivy here, and today we're going to talk about why you should go ahead and take the time to make your templates before you start writing, as opposed to just opening up your DAW and just going every time. All right, thank you for coming back to the channel. And if at any point in this video you get some little bit of knowledge or a little, I should do that, go ahead and hit that like button. Or better yet, tell me what you liked about it in the comments below. So first we're going to take a sip of LaCroix. Because this definitely isn't like the fourth time I've shot this video. Anyways, we're going to create a new song. Excuse my destroyed voice. And we're going to go ahead and we're making a template. So you can call your template whatever you want in here. Poop butt. And then all these settings are fine. I always have mine set to seconds so I can see how long the song is. BPM, all that stuff doesn't matter because you're just going to open it up. You hit OK, and then you'll launch a new song. But we've already done that. So let's talk about how my template is set up and why I did it like this. Number one, I always start at the top with drums. Now in the live room, we do have a real kit, which we will, I'll have Ramiro record all these tracks with a real kit, and we'll edit it later. But for now, it's just about writing. I just want to sit down and write, and I don't want to have to think about, how many guitars do y'all want? Nah, we're doing that now. So we open up Superior Drummer, or if you use Get Good Drums or whatever. And I'm currently using Studio One version 3 because we're recording our album. And I don't want to upgrade this until after we're done with that. I don't want to lose anything in the transition. So I'll come over and I'll grab Superior Drummer, drag it over here, and then we're going to color code it. So once you drag it and it loads, hello, you then come right over here, click on this top piece. You can change whatever color you want. Now, I'm a fan of blue for drums. That's just me. Bass is going to be red. Now, what I did here is I packed it in a folder. So everything's nice and neat, and I can just unpack it away, which comes in handy when you have a bunch of guitars. You need to get rid of that. So the first thing we're going to do is you'll create a bass track, which you can click here, add tracks. We would call it bass and name it however you want. I personally do a DI track and a tone track so I can reamp it later. So the bass DI is coming in on input 6 of my audio interface because that's the clean out from the Kemper. And then I have this one labeled bass Kemper, and it's coming from the Kemper because I've already told the input that channel 3 is always going to be Kemper. And then you hit add. Now, of course, it's the wrong color because I was just working on guitars. But you can go in here, click this, shift, and then click all your bass tracks or whatever you're doing. Right click, and then you'll be able to say pack folder. And that's how you create one of these folders. So we'll go ahead and delete you. Nope, didn't mean to do that. Still had that highlighted. Remove track. There we go. And then same with guitars. Now you make a guitar track, and then you figure out how many tracks you're going to need to highlight, pack folder. Now, of course, I have my guitar DI, which once again is coming in on 6 from the Kemper. Guitar Kemper, which is what the tone I'm going for, and that's going to be here as well. Now I'll readjust the volume to go between bass and guitar. And then after that, we go into how I pan and how I label my guitars. So I have my clean left, I have a clean center track, and then I have a clean right. So if there's just a part where I'm just strumming along, I'm gonna throw that in the center. And then if I want to add bum 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 to like the left and the right tracks, they're all sitting nice. They're out of each other's way. That's why I use an LCR instead of like a traditional left and then right. Because I imagine if I had 3 guitar players, how would I arrange them? The center track would mostly be doing just basic chords and the rhythm aspect of it, and the left and right would take care of the any kind of harmony or lead lines or textures like pads or whatever. Then I do the same thing with the dirty channels, left, center, right. And then I also have a solo, left, center, right. So once again, the main solo is sitting in the middle. And then whenever I'm doing harmonized parts, then it's going to shoot to the left and right. Or something that needs to be doubled and thick. Or maybe I'll do one that has a heavy delay and reverb, and then one that has like a phaser and a flanger on the other side, and that could make that one lead line really thicken up. But you can do a lot with reamping. Now, as you see here, all these say vocals, which is channel 1. That's fine, because once again, I'm going to be tracking it here, and then reamping here, and then just dragging it to wherever it needs to go. I don't need to label all these individually. That's kind of a waste of time to me, personally. Now, keys, I need to label these as well. So I've got my easy keys, which is just a standard upright piano, which we're going to go ahead and make it a grand piano, because I'm using contact for the other one. And then this guy, well, let's make sure we organize these correct. So we'll drag you up here. Oh, way too many D's. Whatever, we'll keep it like that. The gentleman. And this is just going to be Rev, rises, and then ethereal earth. So this is a lot of samples and pads in reverse. You can have them forward and however you want, because they'll list right here: dry, there's a wet track, a pad, forward, the natural sound. And then rises is just all of the all that cool stuff. Ethereal earth, this is I don't have the full version. I have the free version. I might buy the full version today, honestly. It's only $50. But it has a lot of really cool pads and soundscapes. Analog Dreams is cool, but it sounds to 80s synthwave, and that's not what I'm going for. So this one works out just fine. And once again, these are all color coordinated green. And I will set up a MIDI send and receive. It's kind of like how I would reamp with my actual synthesizer here. So I can tell the computer to send MIDI out to this. This plays it. And then I can affect the sound here. I can add pedals. I could grab my whammy, my wah pedal, and do all sorts of crazy stuff with it. Which that's a whole other video. And that's not what I'm going for in this album. And then vocals, which I just labeled white, which isn't really white, it's more of a gray. So my vocal tracking, which once again that's coming in on the vocals, which is channel 1. And then I have my backup vocals. So oohs and ahs, light harmony stuff. That's all going to be on these channels. I then have my main left, center, and right. So the big impactful moments where I'm going to spend most of my time really dialing in EQ, making sure I'm singing correctly. I might do some pitch correction here, whereas I might not really do anything here, because these are just extra. There's going to be reverb. They're going to be further back, so I don't see any point in doing a lot of editing to them. And then my gang vocals, which I play metal and hardcore, so I'm used to calling everything gang vocal instead of choir, which it could be you talking into the mic or singing in or yelling into the mic and standing in 8 different positions and then combining them all into one track and then spreading that throughout so it sounds bigger than life. Or I could just as easily run a cable out there, call 10 of my friends, and go ahead and, all right, the line is, "We shall not fall. We shall not fall." And we're all yelling it 80 times, and we'll stack it up in here. But the next thing I want to talk to you about in the grand scheme of routing and bus effects, right here. Now, there's a difference between a bus and an effects, like an FX send or effects channel. Now, when I hop in here and I go to add bus, it is this base one right here. So as you see here, this is the bus channel. You can add effects and add extra sends. If I made this just in a effects channel, I couldn't have additional sends. It's just the reverb on this track as a whole. I couldn't do any routing or automation. So I always suggest doing buses first and then adding effects to that bus. But you can do whatever you want. So the basses all sit here because I'm going to have generally the same EQ on the bus group. Like the bass itself, they're all going to be the same. Same with guitar. I'm always going to add a high pass, low pass, because guitar doesn't need to be in that space. I might get a little aggressive with the EQ in the mid range to make room for the synths or drums or whatever. I want to make an interesting EQ choice. So once again, these are all bus to guitars. So all those go to the same bus, which you can click one of these guys, highlight all of them, right click, and you can add a bus, or because they're already in a folder, you can just go right there and say add bus. And then do the same thing with keys, and the vocals is different. So the backup vocals are on their own bus, the main vocals are on their own bus, and the gang are on their own bus. Once again, I'm going to be spending 90% of my time here. Here, I'm probably just going to do some reverb and compression. Same here, reverb compression. Now, I still could then send all of these to an additional bus. So I could say, I want to add a bus here, so I can do volume automation. So I could show or add automation so I could do volume for all vocals all at the same time. So if you want that part where there's like a big room drum sound and just a really low reverby bass, that's where you would do that. Hop in here, I add my you want to open? I could say I want to add anything in here. I even have a couple that I've already pre-built in. Yeah. So this is the main reason why I talk about adding a template to your workflow. Go ahead and spend the hour making it so you don't have to touch it later. When I'm ready to record bass, I go in here, I click record here, turn on the Kemper, boom, I'm jamming. I've got a dry track, I've got the tone, and I can reamp it later. Same with guitars. I've got the dry, I've got the tone, and I can move them however I see fit. So that's why I suggest doing that. Now, you can also go ahead and go to your master bus. I have Easy Mix loaded up here, which is a compressor and a limiter, which is what you would do in the mastering stage anyways. So as I'm writing, I want to hear what it sounds like, what it would sound like as the final result. If I'm happy with it, then I can dive back in and do more ninja-esque EQ. But once again, thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, concerns, if you saw where I messed something up and you're like, that's not how you do that, let me know. I'm always looking to learn. Comment below if there's any other video you would like me to go over. And in the next one video, we're going to be, what's after this? Let me look at my schedule. Okay, so the next one we're going to be diving into tones. Peace.